Our position regarding Lebanon has always been very clear. We would prefer a diplomatic solution. We are entirely focused on achieving our objectives, which in the north is the return of our displaced citizens who have become refugees in their own country, back to their homes, back to their schools, back to their families. The suffering is always on our mind. We're talking about elderlies, kids, entire families. If we can return them back home, it means that we are not responsible for their well-being. That's why the government decided to add this objective to the goals of the war. Do not mistake a peaceful nation for a defenseless one. We have the means, we have the capabilities to achieve this goal. If diplomacy fails to return our residents to their homes, then we will use all means at our disposal in accordance with international law to achieve our aims. Thank you very much.
Michelle Nichols from Reuters. Have the Americans and the French convinced Israel to cease hostilities with Lebanon?
So we are grateful for all those who are making a sincere effort with diplomacy to avoid escalation, to avoid a full war. We are open to ideas, but we are very honest about it. Our goal is to push Hezbollah from the fence, allow the residents to come back to the communities, and I hope we will be able to achieve it without using our military capabilities.
Ambassador, it's Pamela Falk from U.S. News and World Report. The question about negotiations. The U.S. sources are saying there are talks going on to have a ceasefire. Do you see any progress in those?
So, in our region, you can have a lot of talks, but you actually have results when it happens. So as I said earlier, we welcome the initiatives from different negotiators, and I think they know exactly what we expect. And if we can achieve it with diplomacy, it will be much better for Israel, much better for Lebanon. I'm not sure Hezbollah care much about the people in Lebanon or the Iranians, which I have seen the applause they received in the General Assembly. I'm not sure they will be happy about that, but for the sake of the Lebanese people and the Israelis, a diplomatic solution is much better for all.
Mr. Ambassador, Tom Bateman from the BBC. Lebanon had its deadliest day since the end of its civil war. On Monday, 500 people killed, including 50 children, according to the Lebanese. Meanwhile, the US is calling for restraint. President Biden says he wants de-escalation. Are you not listening to the Americans?
Well, I don't know where you got those numbers. I don't know how many terrorists are included in those numbers. We are targeting terrorists who are sending rockets to our communities. A few hours ago, a rocket flew to Tel Aviv that was intercepted, and we will continue to target terrorists. But all of this can stop immediately. Once Hezbollah will stop firing missiles and rockets into our civilian communities, there will be no cycle of violence in the region.
Mr. Ambassador.
Do a ceasefire in Gaza. So if you really care about the people in the north, why don't you do that?
The linkage that Iran decided to do between Hezbollah and Hamas, holding the people of Lebanon hostage, that's something which I'm not familiar with. How can you do that? How can you put out, excuse me, let me answer your question. No, I'm answering your question. I'm not here to listen to your opinion. I'm not here to listen to your opinion. You ask a question, you get an answer. The linkage that the Iranian regime did between Hezbollah and Hamas, holding the Lebanese people hostage, that's not done. You don't start a war with Israel just because you want to show sympathy for the atrocities of Hamas. And you don't, thank you.
The Prime Minister of Lebanon.
Yes. One by one. We have 2 more minutes.
One time you have decisive targets, you target leaders of Hezbollah, and another time you kill indiscriminately innocent people, like over 500 civilians died in Lebanon. Why this contradiction?
There is no contradiction. As we all know, Hezbollah placed the launchers of rockets in civilian properties, in houses, schools, hospitals. Once we know about the whereabouts of missiles and rockets, we target them. And excuse me, I know you are very excited, but you ask questions to receive answers. So I'm answering your answer. If someone knows that he had in his basement or is in rooftop a rocket launcher, he should move out. Because we know also about the whereabouts of the Hezbollah launchers in southern Lebanon. So if they are worried about it, they should move out. But I think the end for the cycle of violence is for Hezbollah to stop its aggression. One
Mr.
more
Ambassador,
question.
Mr.
Yes,
Ambassador, the Prime Minister of Lebanon has told us that he would like a ceasefire.
Oh, it's very clear. Regarding northern Lebanon, I want to bring you back to Resolution 1701 that was adopted here in this Council in 2006. We support Resolution 1701. That's what I will tell my colleagues today. We don't have to invent the wheel. You have the resolution in front of you. It is about time to implement it. And it's very clear. It calls for the presence of the Lebanese military in the border with Israel and not the Hezbollah militias and terror group on the border with Israel. We'll take last question, please.
The Prime Minister of Lebanon,
Yes.
of Lebanon has told us that he would like a ceasefire. Would Israel welcome that as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I would add to that. I would like to see a ceasefire and the return home of Israelis to the homes in the north and southern Lebanese to their homes in southern Lebanon. That's what we all want to achieve. It will happen either after a war or before a war. We hope it will be before. Thank you very much.